you don't dig deep, and when you're complacent, you get comfortable, and I don't want to be there at that place.
You had a goalie tandem going, right, with Phoenix Copley. And can you describe that relationship that you had with him?
We had a good relationship. We worked well together, and I think he's probably the best goalie I've ever played with for a few seasons.
So my prediction is I will get one on Zach.
But
wow. You might get a couple for sure.
One, but it's going to be sneaky. It's going to be an absolute shit of a goal. It's not going to be sick.
Charles Hudon just signed a contract. Do you think that him lighting you up for 5 in his debut game in that league helped him get that contract?
That's funny. No, it had nothing.
Where did you find that? Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Show. It is your host, David McCaig Jr., bringing you another special edition upload powered by the Game Entertainment and Media. And this is our special edition uploads where we get into some very awesome interviews. And you can tune into all of the archives of these special edition shows on the GameSportsShow.com or on the TGM Network platform YouTube channel. Just check it out, and you will not be disappointed. Now, let's introduce the co-host for tonight's upload. You hear him on a lot of editions with the Game Sports Show. He is the Game Entertainment and Media family in terms of a general sports analyst, the one and only Alex Parr. Parr, my friend, how's it going?
My heart is full after such an introduction like that to be counted as family, Dave. That's touching. Thanks for having me. I'm glad we're doing this again. I'm really excited for this one today.
Yeah, and honestly, we have the Game Sports Show family, TGM family. We have an EASHL 22, an archive family. We have a video game family. We have all the fun here on this show. Okay, and I like to consider this guest a good friend. It's all from the part 1 that we had. So this is a second part with this guest, and I'm very excited. Now, I did tell him that the intro is not as long as the first one, but it's still a little bit lengthy. So
you're less of a kiss ass this time?
A little bit less. No, okay. Not really. So I want everyone to get comfy, get ready, because now getting to our special edition guest, he is no stranger to the Game Sports Show or TGM. He loved it so much the first time, and we've built such a good relationship with this fella that he wanted to come back again. Now, this time, not only is he back with our regular audio format, you get to see him in person on video this time as well, okay? He is involved with Living Sisu, a connecting sponsor with the Game Sports Show. This guy has won and achieved a lot, okay? And that's putting it lightly. Gold medal, championship, junior all-star team name, Gretzky Cup winner, and much more, okay? You can tune into the first part to hear the lengthy introduction for that one. But to give it a more of a brief summary, he's drafted second round, 36 overall in the 2013 draft by the Montreal Canadiens. He's a World Junior Gold medalist for Team Canada. He has played over 230 professional games to date and started over 200 in the QMJHL. And in the 2021 and 2022 season, this Teddy even set the Capitals franchise record for the longest streak without allowing a goal to start their tenure with the franchise. And in that same game, he set an NHL record for the longest streak without allowing a goal for their career, which was previously set in 2011. Oh, and to continue his season full of records, he became the first goaltender in Washington Capitals franchise history to record a shutout on his debut. And to be honest with that, we saw his post-game speech in the locker room after when he got given the game puck. You know what? He's very humble. I know people thought I was going to go with a chirp with that, but he's a very humble lad indeed. Honestly, this guy has records from the Q all the way up to the NHL and had an amazing 21-22 season between the pipes for the Hershey Bears and the Washington Capitals as well. And he's getting set for the 2022-2023 season at this time of recording. And I've already gone into his stats on our first edition, as I mentioned. And now he continues to break records, and the numbers will surely continue to climb for this guy. The sky is the limit for this guest. Now let's bring him in. There was a little bit of kiss ass there.
I was going to say that's a lot of kiss ass.
I did actually mention that in my notes to say that I was a kiss ass. So it's funny that you said that. The one and only Zach Fucale. Zach, the man. What's going on? Welcome back.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I don't know if this introduction was longer than the first one. I think it might have been longer than the first.
It might have been.
We'll have to check the tape, check the timer, but no, it's good, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks for having me on a second time. I was the one I said, hey, when am I coming back on the show, right? So no, I'm happy to be here, brother.
My favorite thing about the introductions is that guests always go, Did I do that? Oh, yeah, I guess I did do that because Dave's always rattling off all these stats.
That's funny.
I don't memorize that. And you know what? I did that with the sun in my eyes. As everyone may have noticed, this is still the Gretzky corner, but I moved my computer around a little bit and I had the notes and I was staring at it. And I think I'm gonna get a suntan while we do this episode, but that's totally fine. Okay.
Nice, man.
You know, honestly, it's great to have you back, Zach. You know what? Before we get into the topics, man, I want to start by discussing the dad life. You and I off air, okay, we're talking about the dad life. You asked if I had anyone's running around yet. I only have a 4-legged creature running around at this current time, but you're a new dad of sorts, and we've connected previously and stated our congratulations, talked all that. But I want you to tell listeners how that's going. You know, on the social media, you're active with it, and you're such a proud dad already.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I love it. It's tough to describe, but all I can tell you is the best feeling in the world. It comes with this challenges, especially early on. Like, he's not even 6 months there. It's very, very challenging. You know, you were talking about a 4-legged creature. We have a 3-year-old 4-legged creature, you know, to add on top of the chaos and the mayhem. But, you know, it's something that you adjust, you figure it out. And my wife's been unbelievable this whole time during the season. I mean, we had Teo in February, so it was literally in the middle of the season. So that was like, I still don't know how we got through that season, but it was wild. And having a little guy, it's unreal. It's unbelievable.
Are you gonna put them between the pipes too?
I don't know. It's still, I'm gonna get him crawling first, and then we'll see next. We'll see.
Probably a good strategy. I mean, it worked well for you, right?
Yeah.
I usually say one thing, and when people say this to me, I actually call them. I say it's nuts to say, but people say if you can raise a dog, you can raise a child or a 4-legged. I disagree. I don't think there can't be any comparison. I think a human and a
now you opened up a can of worms, because personally, I don't think many people raise their dogs correctly. So I don't know, man. You opened up a whole can of worms there. Like, what's raising a dog? I think we all have different standards there, right?
That's a good point. Very good point. You know, at least dogs, they kind of come potty trained. Kids don't. That takes that sort of come potty trained. They go in your house, but at least they go. Anyways, getting off track. I want to start off with the dad life. Congratulations with that, Zach. I know we talked already, but you know, it's great to see, you know, and it's great to see your uploads with that on social media as well. Little plug for your social media. You're very active on it. It's great to see. I'll get into the first topic. What I want to dive into is I want to go right into Hershey. All right. Now, you had a great season, and in Hershey and overall in general is a real step forward.
What's that face for, Zach? What's that face?
It was okay.
I think it was good. I know you may look at numbers, you know, you didn't have a 198 goals against average. Okay. But you were still,
it was okay. It was a good season. Look, we want to talk about Hershey. That's totally fine. I mean, that's where I played a majority of the year. I mean, I find I had a great start to the season, which earned, you know, a few games with the Capitals. And a really good finish, I find. The end was really sharp. So in between that, there were some ups and downs, and I had some tough times there. And especially when Teo came in February, I was hit with all types of new things that I had to live through, like new life things, you know, not just hockey things, just new life things that I had maybe a tough time dealing with. So that's part of life. It was part of my season. But yeah, it went okay. You know, good start, good finish, but it went okay overall.
You know, honestly, and that's what I was going to get to, is that for yourself, you know, you had a goalie tandem going, right, with Phoenix Copley, and you know, you had areas where you grew a lot this year, and that showed from when you went up to Washington. You know, maybe your post-game speech after you got the shutout, you know, I was chirping you about it, but I was joking. Honestly, humble guy, and honestly, looking at what Copley and you had, it seems that's the way of hockey these days. And AHL, NHL doesn't matter. There's goalie 1A, 1A1, right? It's not like the days where you had Dominic Hasek and then you had, this never happened, but Jamie McLennan, they never played together. But that's someone like that playing together. And if Jamie McLennan ever listens, sorry, I'm chirping you hard. But you had a goalie tandem with you two that seemed to really work out. So can you describe that relationship that you had with him, but also could you get into some areas that you noticed that you grew on this year as a goalie overall?
I love cops, and I was just now actually on my phone right here. He just saying we were just texting each other because he signed in LA today, and I was saying congratulations, and that's awesome. So we were saying how it was such a good fit, how we were good partners, and how we had a good team thing going, him and I. So you're absolutely right. Like, we had a good relationship, we work well together, and um, I hold Cops to like almost on a pedestal. Like, he's one of the best goalies I've ever. I think he's probably the best goalie I've ever played with for a few seasons, and he taught me a lot about how to act, about the game, about technical stuff, all types, mental stuff, and we spent a lot of time together. So it was really cool how over the last couple of years we had that dynamic, and it helped me grow because he does have NHL experience. He has that background, and he had a really solid year. So he set the tone, he set the pace, and now he's moving on to another club. But that's going to stay with me. You know, all those things that we went through.
That's very true. Now, honestly, and Par, I'm not going to take a thunder. I know you have a point to get to, but you had a relationship build there, and then that helped you grow as a person. And being in Hershey, it's a devoted fan base for the American Hockey League. I know people talk about San Diego, people can talk about Toronto, people talk about numerous teams in the American Hockey League, but it seems like it's a good fan base there, and especially the teddy bear toss. Okay, like that teddy bears toss,
pretty legendary.
I say that you dove into a pile of teddy bears, if I saw that right on your social media.
Yeah, it's pretty legendary, and it's like that every year. And I think they break records every year. They break the record every year and every year. So no, that's definitely one of those days that's marked on the calendar in Hershey for many people. But
yeah,
it's a fun city. 99% of people that you talk to Hershey about, you talk to them about Hershey, it's all positive stuff. It's a great place. The chocolate factory, they have all these things. It's very touristy, and then you have the Hershey Bears, right? So it's very much built around that, and it's really cool to be a part of. I'll be honest with you.
100%. Par, I won't take your thunder. You can go.
Yeah, we talked about Copley, but okay. I'm a Leafs fan, and we don't necessarily have the best rap.
He knows that.
we don't necessarily have the best respect. Like, people don't view us in the greatest light. So I just want to know, like, Ilya Samsonov, what can I do to make him feel welcomed coming to the fan? Have you bumped into him? Do you know anything? Like, does he like any snacks?
Well, yeah, we were teammates for a big part of the last 2 years.
Right. So like, what do I need to know about this guy?
I think everything that's been, just as much as me with the 2022. Like, I mean, it's not much you're gonna learn that you haven't seen, heard him play before. Like, it's he's very talented. He's got a kind of an X factor to his game. And I just think it's just a matter of him putting it together. I mean, honestly, nobody can really deny the skill level that he can play at.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I saw that firsthand. Some practices, sometimes when I was in Washington, it was either he was kind of like getting back from an injury, or VTech was. So that was kind of, and I saw him come back from a couple injuries, and I was like, man, this guy's, he's sick, like, he's good. So again, he had some tough times and good times, and that's very cyclical with goaltenders, right? So it's just part of what he's living in his career, because I've been through some stuff, and all the other goalies who ever played the game been through some stuff, and he's just going through something right now. He's going to go into a new organization. Hopefully that kind of like jumpstarts him, and it comes, kind of gives him a fresh slate, and we'll see what happens, man. I mean, I can't tell you anything that you don't know, like, already. I don't think. I mean,
Well, honestly, you know what? One thing that and again, I'm taking Parr's little thunder with this a little bit, but you played with the likes of Cody Franzen and Matt Molson. Now, Matt Molson is transitioned to the Leafs organization in a scouting role. Obviously, he's a good friend with John Tavares. They played together on Long Island and had a lot of success. He's a Toronto boy, if I remember correctly. I think he lives really close to Toronto, or he was from there. And Cody Franzen, who was a part of the Toronto Maple Leafs organization.
A long time, yep.
Yeah, and in 2013, he was a part of the epic Game 7 collapse, obviously, that every Toronto fan remembers the most. And those are two guys that were veterans on your team. Did they ever share stories, except Matt Molson? Obviously, he wouldn't share stories about Toronto because he hasn't been there yet. But I'm gearing towards Franz a little bit. And the reason why I am is because I want to know if he ever talked about that Game 7 game to anybody in the locker.
I was never, I mean, I went to dinner with friends a lot during the season on the road and stuff like that. We ended up at the same restaurant a lot. But I never really had that conversation about that particular game. I mean, I've heard fantastic NHL stories from Franny and Moose. Okay.
Yeah.
Some stories, they've both had an amazing career, like it's cool to be sitting down and kind of listen to these guys. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But no, never that particular game.
Probably for a reason. He scored twice in that game too.
I'm not going to bring it up either. So
no, thanks. Cool. Appreciate it.
I feel like it'd be good to bring up. But no, Alex Westland is the guy that I was going to transition into my question a little bit. Now, goalies, when they go to teams, they work with different goalie coaches, right? You just talked about Ilya Samsonov. He's going to be going to Toronto to work with Curtis Sanford. Obviously, they had a goalie change in Toronto, and you have goalies going to different places. You have Jack Campbell going to Edmonton. You have Matt Murray going to Toronto, which is very common.
Kevin Weeks and Mike McKenna would call it the goalie carousel. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And there's movement around. Kemper goes to Washington. We're going to get to that in a second too, because I want to get in, of course, to Washington and more of Hershey. But you have the goaltending coach that you had in Hershey. Can you get into that? Every other goalie I've had on the show or previous shows, they don't get into any goalie coach talk. Now, maybe boring as hell, but like, what is the relationship that you had with Alex? What really jived there? Because obviously, there was that growth this year, and obviously you had success when you played up in Washington. So obviously there must have been something that worked there from a way that made you kind of grow, or maybe you just grew yourself. But because you're very strong. So
with Westy, first of all, it's so great to see him get an NHL job. Mm-hmm. He's worked a lot and he works really hard. Like, he's one of the guys that watches the most video I've ever seen ever, on all types of players, goalies, all types of stuff. So he's real hard work and deserved it. So for our working relationship, it was really great. From the moment I got to Hershey, it was the shortened COVID year. And one of the things I really liked about how we worked was some things I would bring up. This was part of his kind of like thinking as well. So it wasn't anything that was always like new or something like that. So the way I was thinking the game was already a little bit how he was thinking the game, and vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, there were some similarities and there were some common areas that we could just continue to work. And it wasn't like a big adjustment for each of us to start working with each other. I don't know if you follow me there. It wasn't a big sense. So right from the beginning, it went very, very well my first year, because we were just flowing into what we were kind of doing normally. So that's how we worked well together. For me personally, this past season, like I was telling you, the beginning was real hot, and the end as well. But in the beginning, I had a tough time. And I have to give Westy credit for that, because he was one of the people that was always in my corner, and he was always encouraging me and pushing me to push those limits and get back to my game that we talk about so often. So I really appreciated him in all types of situations, because we did have those common areas in how we were thinking and our philosophies behind it. And same with Scotty Murray in Washington. So like, that's great when you have those similarities and you have that kind of continuity over the years and stuff. it makes that relationship go even better, goalie coach and stuff, because it's no different than any other relationship, whether you have a job in an office or anything like that, you know, like it's no different. Like when I come to the rink, like I'm trying to do my job and he's trying to do his job, and it just so happens that our jobs are very, very much interrelated, and so we have to work together a lot, and he helped me a ton. So, and that's the reason why he gets to go in the NHL, because he did that not just with me, but he did that with Cops, he did that with Vitek, he did that with Shepard, he did that with all the guys that came before me as well, you know. So that's why he's going to the NHL, because he's good at his job, and he had some success, you know, bringing us to the next level.
Yeah, see, it's important that I think players give credit to the coaching staff a lot, because you don't hear that a lot, because they're in the back. I'm not saying goalie coach in the background. The most that you hear about coaches are the head coach, right? Or sometimes assistant coach because of the power play
or something like that.
Exactly. But the goalie coaches, I think, are starting to be a bit more labeled out, that, and as they should be, because not saying they deserve, I think the player deserves an enormous amount of credit because you're the one that's the buy-in, but the chemistry has to be there. And sometimes you look at these players, you brought up Samsonov before, who needs a bounce back. It's not related to you, but in terms of that bounce back, maybe a goalie coach change would be a significant for him, right? So, you know, honestly,
depending on you know, philosophies and how they work together. So it could be both ways, right? Like,
yep, it can go either way. Part, I'll let you take it away. Next point.
Well, then I'm assuming if your goalie coach made the next step to the NHL, when it comes to your goals for the next season, is your mindset just right now getting that permanent NHL job?
That's for sure. That's for sure the mindset of a big amount of goalies that are in the AHL, NHL. You know, that's definitely part of my mindset as well. Because I feel like when you're complacent, you don't push the limit. You don't push yourself. You know, you don't dig deep. And when you're complacent, you know, you get comfortable, and I don't want to be there at that place. You know, like 27 years old, I have nothing to lose. I have a great organization that believes in me. They've helped me develop in the last couple of years, and it's just a great opportunity for me to keep that mindset of continual growth, continually going up, and pushing. And that's our job, right? Like that's literally the mindset of so many goalies, and I'm pretty sure 100% of AHL goalies. So for me, yeah, you're right. My mindset is to play hard, play my game, and not just continually think about, I want an NHL job, because that just, it doesn't make you focus, you know, right now. It's a little bit, at the end of the day, it's not part of the controllables of like you actually getting an NHL job. How that happens is your performance, and then you dial that back even more. It's just about how you live every day. That's, if we go even deeper than that, you know, it's just how you approach every shot. That's, you know, so it's, for me, I want to break it down and make sure I stay in the moment. I just kind of like not focus on, I want an NHL. Yes, that's a motivation. It's a goal maybe, but I'm not thinking about that on the daily, because that will take away from my focus of, you know, getting better every single second, every single shot I take, and how I'm preparing for camp. You know, preparation for camp. Yeah, it's a goal in the back of my mind, but preparation for camp is a big part of the season.
See, always well spoken, Zach. And I told Alex this, and even on our last point, you know that everything we get into, you're going to get honesty and truth out of it. And that's why I'm excited to transition kind of over to the Capitals a little bit, because, and there is a lot of points I want to get into, and I was going to save this point for a bit later in the topic, but I'm going to say it right now because it's on my mind fresh. You know, at the time of when we were recording at this current time, not going to state date or anything like that. Obviously, we're in the off season. It's sunny in Sault Ste. Marie, so people that are listening can probably relate. It's probably summertime.
There's about 4 possible days that it could be. There's about 4 or 5 possible days. You can guess. Yeah. Choice.
If you guess correctly, comment below. Maybe I'll get you a prize. Maybe keyword. But free agency is obviously live in the off season all times. It starts in July. July, and it can go all the way to training camp, people to signing contracts, PTOs. At the time of this recording, Darcy Kemper has signed in Washington, and for the amount of dollars that he has signed, it's obvious where the expectations for him are, and he's coming off a Stanley Cup victory in Colorado. But no one should take anything away from Pavel Francouz, who did very well in the Edmonton series. I think people may forget that, but nonetheless, Vanchek has moved on, and Copley has moved on, right? So you had Samsonov has moved on to Toronto. And I don't want to sit here and say that, oh, Zach, you're a lock for the second part. I know you're not even that type.
Well, Lindgren signed in Washington today as well.
Yeah, there was some movement, right? So I feel like that second position, yes, despite the signings today, there's the opportunity for you to have that, to go for it. And obviously, if not, you do go back to Hershey. But overall, it must be motivating for you to say that, there was movement. The crease is obviously, everyone's going to say, and I'll flat out say what it is. Everyone expects the crease to be Kemper's, but in the goaltending world that it is now, anyone who is growing, anyone who's successful, doing well, that's who's going to get the chance. And you went in this year, got the chance, did successful, made that mark on the Washington organization. And obviously they know who Zach Fucale is. Everyone should have known anyways who you are because of what you've done before. But besides that, it must be motivating to go into this year to be like, it's almost different than last year. You don't have, basically you had Vanchek and Samsonov being your lock two, and you had to compete with Copley. You guys were not competing, but a tandem, right? For that play time. It's that friend.
Oh, there's definitely some competition there. There's always competition.
100%.
It's the world, these days. The world is competition. You had guys signed from the KHL mid-season this year. Yeah. So it's like, it's the whole, there's competition everywhere, every second. There's no really letting up. Like, yes, the contracts are part of it. And some stuff happened in free agency, like you said, in, out, it's part of the business. It's part of life. So as far as what I'm expecting is just the best for myself. And that's it. That's all I can do. That's all I can do is play at my absolute best. And then once the opportunity comes, you put your foot down like the last time. And I think it's important that you were talking, Dave. Thank you for what you were saying. I mean, it's very. I appreciate you kind of. No, but I mean, I appreciate it. It's cool. It was a long time coming for me, man. It took me 7 years to play one game in the NHL. And that's wild. That's a hell of a journey. But when you do get a chance to make a first impression, you only get one of those, right? You really only get one. And I feel like you said, it is a little bit different than last year, where last year I had 0 games. Now I have a couple, but those games, with the results, you can say, okay, well, that was shown now. So that kind of, for me, it is very motivating to answer your question. It is very motivating for me to have that little taste and also kind of a little bit of validation, of all the work I put in and how I play the game and how I approach the game. So there's some validation there too. And it gives me some confidence that with the work I'm going to be doing all of this off season that I'm doing currently, being ready at camp is going to pay off eventually.
Yeah, 100%. You know what? And that's where I say it how it is. And again, I know, you went into that first game, and this is one point that kind of transitioned to that first point. This year you have the opportunity, especially to be in a role, to be a backup. I know who they signed, whatever. Kemper, I think, to be honest, and you can agree or disagree, but Kemper, I think, is the only one that they expect for certainty for the crease, right? You pay $5.5 million and a Stanley Cup winner. I'd be lying if I didn't think that they would be expecting him to be number one.
Right.
But for that, it's always open. Doesn't matter who's number one. I remember back when Curtis Joseph got hurt in Toronto and Corey Schwab went in and John Sebastian Aubin, these guys that came in that had the opportunity and they ran away with it. Toronto didn't make the playoffs. But these sometimes an opportunity arises, is my point. You had that opportunity this year and you made the most of it. You said it right there. So I think the only certainty in Washington at this current point of talking is the number one, quote unquote, which is so used differently nowadays than what it was before. And rewinding, you go back this year to prove yourself and you put on that jersey for the first time. And I'm sorry, I don't have a Capitals jersey in the background as everyone sees in the Gretzky corner. I got a Blue Jay jersey going on currently right now. Any Maple Leaf jersey and memorabilia has been stored in that closet. I don't know if you can see it on the right over there. Okay. So it's not out. So there's a Blue Jay jersey back there. So I might have to order a Fucale Capitals jersey. So you know, Zach. But besides that, you put on the jersey the first time. You said you had that journey to go up there, 7 years in the making, and you had everything from junior to the NHL was a grind for you to get there. And you put on that jersey for the first time, and I'm keep doing these expressions that people see on video with my hands. The Italian is coming out a lot, but you put on the jersey, you must have almost want to get into tears. You must have, like, you must have had that feeling. Oh, yeah. It's getting worth it, right? Can you describe the emotion that you had?
It was, like I said, it was a long time for me. And there were some moments, and I talked about this a lot in the past. And whenever I am asked, I tell the truth about it. There were some moments where I didn't believe as much that it could be done for me, like in the last 7 years. Like sometimes I didn't believe it as much, as I would have a little bit younger. And some moments were almost too tough to say, there were some thoughts like, am I going to keep going? Am I just going to go to Europe? Is that it for me? You know what I mean? There was a lot of questioning, a lot of bad times, bad thoughts, there was a lot. All right. And to actually do that, and you can't make this up. Like, I can't even write it. It's tough for me to describe. I'm sorry, guys. I usually have a lot of words, but
you got it. That shows your emotion right there. That shows it. It's like even if you asked me, how do you think your first game's gonna go? I wouldn't even have wrote it that way. I don't think you can. Like a shutout on the road like that, like that's crazy, right? That's crazy. I can't even imagine thinking this up before. It was an unbelievable thing. A lot of people came up in the organization that didn't really know my story. They came up to me after, like, man, like, we didn't really know what you went through to be here. And the 12 to 15 other teams I played for before, and the freaking 3 leagues and Spengler Cups and all this stuff that happened. Like, a lot of people didn't know, and I even had people say, oh, you're still playing hockey, like there's a lot of stuff that happened. And it was one of those moments where I was real grateful to be a part of that, because there was a lot of people that actually did believe in me from the beginning all the way through, and I'm not one of those people. Sometimes I didn't believe in it, but there was a lot of people that believed in me all the way through. And there were a lot of people that didn't believe in me. And those, they fueled me over time. They did fuel me over time. And I'm grateful for those people that didn't believe in me. And I'm grateful for the people that did believe in me, because both of those served as motivation in different times. When it was good, you use a certain type of motivation. And when it's bad, you use a certain type of motivation to push through as well. So I had to push through a lot of adversity, and I made it to that. But now, like where we're at right now, I'm not completely just satisfied with just playing a couple of games. You know what I mean? Like, that's great. Any goalie could be good in a couple of games here and there. I believe that. And any goalie from the East Coast, let me not even name leagues. I'm saying around the world, there's a lot of goalies that could have success in the NHL for 1 or 2 or 3 games. Yep.
There are. In the world, there are. Same with players. For me, it's about continuing that work and continuing to take that step and continue to literally go to the next level and stay there. So for me, that's my next goal. That's my next challenge.
Love that. I couldn't. That's and honestly, I kind of wish you would have got your first shutout in a Leaf jersey. I keep telling Par that that it would have been a Leaf jersey, But
somebody else did it this year.
That's so true. That's so true. Par.
What did you do to celebrate after Oh, your first game. Did you do anything fun with the team after? Did they do anything for you?
Ovi took him out.
We got right on a plane to Columbus. There was a game the next day. So
Oh no. Okay. So
so
you
how I
time to
so I
soak it in?
celebrated that was get on the plane, did some video with Scotty on the plane. He congratulated me. I had a sit down with Coach Laviolette. He said he didn't, like I said, there were people that didn't really know how long it took for me to get there, and that was when he said, "Well, congratulations, that was a hell of a moment. Thanks for making everybody live that," which was kind of strange because I was part of it. I was happy to be a part of living that with the rest
Right.
of the team. You have some legends on that hockey club. So yeah, it was an amazing moment. There was a lot of really cool people saying some real nice things to me that night. And then the very next day was another game. So I was right back. We were all right back at it. So there's not much time to celebrate mid-season like that on a road trip.
So true.
Is there a moment from that stint that sticks out to you the most? Like a memory that is like, that's what I remember most about that stint?
Besides the shutout.
Well, yeah.
What I remember most, at the end of the day, it's a hockey game. So what I remember the most is, not much. The feeling after in the locker room, that's always one of my favorite things. When you win a hockey game, especially a close game, you go back to the locker room. The feeling of, that's great. That's a really good time. My family afterwards, my mom and dad were there. Awesome. They got in last minute. So to be able to chat with them after a game like that, it was different than any other game. It was a lot of pride by them, by myself. And that was one of the good moments, just embracing my parents after that. It was one of the good times for sure.
Were they there at the game?
Yeah, they were there. They got
That's
in
awesome.
last minute. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All that hard work, that proud parent moment with it, right? And then all that hard work that you've done in the last 7 years, back to when you were in junior, back when you were in under 8, I can't say the other terms, because under 18, it's under 15 now, all these different right terms for it.
That's true. They changed a lot of it now.
Yeah, I can't say the other terms on live recording, and someone will message me, which rightfully so. I get it. I should make sure I get the terms right. But all those years that you did, Pee Wee still thing, novice, all those levels, actually they call it Select A here in the Sioux. I don't know what they call it in other areas, but all those times you went to the rink, your parents are always number one supporters of everything. That may be corny to say, but to share a moment with them there, them getting there to watch, I can imagine, how they would have felt for you. They were just, people may disagree that, he guaranteed Zach was probably more excited. There's not a chance. The parents are just invested.
Yeah, they were, if not more,
100%.
Because if not more, because they saw me in the good times, but they also saw me going through some real dark times. And for them to be there, witness that after seeing all those things and supporting me through all of that stuff, man, from the time I was, 6 years old, all the tournaments, all that, to that moment, I bet you that was something pretty freaking special for my parents. And for me, like I was saying earlier, obviously it wasn't just any other game. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was a hockey game for me, one of many. It was an awesome result, awesome feeling. I'm not saying, it was just another game. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, though, for me, moving on had to be done quickly. I by the way, when I got back to Hershey a couple of days after, I got roasted for 7. So you're back to reality real quickly. And so that's what I mean. That's what I mean is that, yes, it was a good moment, but I didn't have time to just continue with it because, hey, time marches on and you just got to keep going. And my parents probably, they're still happy about that moment right now, probably. So that's kind of just the difference there.
That's what you want it to be more than anything. You don't want to be that one thing. You want it to be continued, right? And that's what kind of, we have 2, we're on our second out of 4 topics here. Dave McKay, Alex Part, Zach Fucale, Ruth the Game Sports Show, powered by TGM, the Game Entertainment Media. Get into the point that I really want to dive into with this topic. I think you're that you could provide a lot of intel to. And it's kind of off board with this second topic per se. We'll talk about the Capitals, but you were drafted by Montreal. And I'm not too sure how well you got to know Carey Price in your time there. I don't know if we ever talked about that, but nonetheless, there was someone who was battling a lot this year. Okay. Lots of emotional circumstances outside the rink. In particular, mental health. That's not confirmed. I'm going to state that firmly. That has not been released. That's just me going off of assumptions. Again, I'm not going to continue going into that route, but I am going to go into a mental health side of the game. Mental health is a main component of the game, right? Especially for a goalie. It's for defensemen, for forwards, for coaches, everybody. But goalies, it's a different animal. As I say, goalies a different breed. It's because you have to observe mental health in a different way, is my honest opinion. You guys are taking rubber for the entire game, okay? And it seems you're someone who's been strong mentally. And obviously you mentioned you went through times where you're grinding to get to the NHL in the last 7 years. And I'm sure mental health plays a good effect on your game at this current point, but with Carey Price, and like I said, not proven, but there's a lot of battles outside the rink. Can you get into the topic of mental health in particular for our listeners and how much it affects a goaltender? And has there been any resources that you've had to use yourself to kind of, if you've used any, to help you overcome any mental health challenges?
Yeah,
Deep
I
question.
did.
Very deep question.
No, when I was in Brampton, I was really like searching, you know. I was looking for myself. In French, you kind of can translate a little bit better, but like I was really like looking for myself as a human being, as a goalie. Like I was lost. Okay. And yeah, I saw a psychologist multiple times to help me because I was struggling. I really was. I was struggling, and it wasn't until I had a few boosts in confidence from some calls like Sean Burke inviting me to the Spengler Cup at 21 out of the East Coast. That was a big boost in confidence. And then the very next year when I'm back in the East Coast and it's so and I don't recognize my game anymore, and it's like, okay, where the hell am I going? Like, you have a tough time, and I'm not sure. This is kind of a strange thing when we talk about mental health for each individual, because like I think we kind of think about it in a different way. Everyone does, and if we look at it like mental health being great, where like on top of the scale, where everything in your life is top, which is rare, and everything is top and your happiness is through the roof, but it was rare during a hockey career that you have top everything mental health. It's very rare, like you're going through something all the time, whether it's a thing on the ice or your body's kind of aching somewhere, or at home, your wife, your girlfriend, you have a baby. It's very hard, there's a lot of moving parts here, and then you can also add for a lot of players financial stuff and all these stressors. But if we're just speaking about my experience in my career, mental health wise, I don't even know where to go there, other than say that my happiness levels weren't very high for a part of my career. And that's the reality. But I did use resources. I did have very close friends that helped me. I did have a family that helped me out, helped me go through stuff, and I just hung on. You hang on, and you gut it out. You use some grit. You find some resiliency. You find some inner strength here and there, and you find the little wins. At the end of the day, you find the little wins, and then the little wins, they build up, and you go to the next, and then at the end of the day, you get a big boost of confidence, and then you continue to build. And I'm not just saying that my whole career was dark. It's not. I had some amazing moments, in my hockey career. I'm very, very lucky. I'm one of the lucky players.
Yeah.
But to get there, it was up and down, and it's like that. So mental health, I know I've been babbling for 5 minutes probably, but but mental health, it's a tough thing because we all have a different experience, and I don't know where else to go other than talk about how I kind of dealt with it.
Honestly, that might have been the toughest question I've ever asked a guest on the show. I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna say that was a loaded question.
Yeah, that was a loaded question. Now, Par, we'll let it while we transition to the next topic. Par might make it a little bit easier. This was something I'm going to spoil a little bit. This is something that you posted when Colorado won the cup, was what he's going to bring up. So I'm going to let Par take it.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, your buddy Nate just won the Stanley Cup. Like, did you get the chance to speak with him at all since?
No. I mean, look, I wouldn't even say, oh, my buddy Nate, like.
Okay.
I don't.
Your acquaintance.
I don't, talk regularly with Nate. It's just,
yeah,
he won the cup. We played together in Halifax.
Yeah.
Which is, it's not very relevant, but it was cool. Yeah, whatever. I reposted that because I was happy, and good for him, man. They did it. And I know guys on that team like Obey Cubel. We play together in the summer all the time. Sam Girard, he's from around the city, Quebec area, Montreal. So like there's a lot of people there, and it's not just Nate.
That's true.
that I was happy about, and that's awesome, man. When you win the Stanley Cup, it's inspiring to see others do it, and it motivates you to push yourself, because it's everyone's goal. It's literally everyone. We all want to do that.
And then they got dented by Abe Kubel, your buddy. Okay, and now he's a Leaf. Okay, the guy who's on the Leaf
boy,
dented the cup. Okay.
Doesn't have to worry about doing it again now.
Par. Sorry, Par, I cut you off.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk about something that I know you'll be able to expand on a little bit more. The Living Sisu Hockey League. I was looking into it, doing a little bit of research. Charles Houdon just signed a contract. Do you think that him lighting you up for 5 in his debut game in that league helped him get that contract?
That's funny. No, it has nothing.
Where did you find that?
The stats are on the Living Sisu website, man. You just got to dig in.
It's true. They are. And he did have 5 on a small 3-on-3 rink. Yeah, it's true. But it's a high scoring game, and it's fun as hell. So yeah, that's good fun, Alex. I like that. That. You're going to have to come down to one of the games on Tuesday nights here. We for that league, it's a good time. But
yeah, you got some big names in there. Is that?
I don't think it was relevant to his contract. I think I was done probably.
Okay, I was just wondering if you're doing him a favor.
I think the contract gave him the confidence. I think.
Gotcha. Right. Yeah. His agent's like, we got something cooking up, man. Just got to go out there, keep doing it.
We want to sign this guy. He just scored 5 in the Living Sisu League. Okay, get him now while he's hot. Get him now.
Oh boy.
Honestly,
awesome.
You mentioned go down, and I'll touch on this more on the end, but Alex isn't. You just learned to play hockey, Alex.
I just played my first season of men's league. I had a.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it looks like it was my first. It looks like it was my first time.
I would love for Alex to come down, and I was gonna save this for the end, Zach, but I'll say it now. I was actually next summer, not this year, because of just the way it's the way the summer is right now. I can't say the exact date, but I would love to have a one-on-one shootout competition against Zach Fucale.
Wow.
That would be cool.
Now,
I have a way for you to do that. You have to come to Make Your Move, and next summer is basically a shootout tournament, and I love to play at that. So
okay.
No way.
You guys have so this is cool. The Game Sports Show has to have a team, because how it works is you have a goalie and 4 players, and your 4 players go against the opposing goalie, and then they switch goalies, and then the 4 players from the other team go against the other goalie, and that's 1 round, and there's 10 rounds, and then it's dope. It's a cool tournament.
That's cool.
See, me and Brooksy played Brooksy a lot higher. The guy has 1,000 professional games. I don't have.
So then, yeah, he could play in the open tournament.
Yeah, see, that would be fun to do. Now, I'm glad we brought this up, and I would love listeners to comment below how many goals I'm gonna get on Zach. I got.
Hey. I'm not a robot, man. You can probably score on me.
I don't know.
I'm fine with that.
One move. I got one secret move that worked in my day, and it's everyone.
You think it'll work out of 10?
No, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I'll score 1.
Maybe you squeak 1 by, man. Who knows? I'm not a superhero, man. Maybe you squeak 1 by.
Well, I'll build some confidence for you. For my first game ever, I forgot 1 shin pad, bought 1 from another team, and then went into my bag and realized I didn't pack my skates either. So,
oh my God, Par,
that's a good move. That's a
good move. Oh yeah. Let me tell you, they didn't forget about that. I heard about.
That's a good move, man.
Okay, expanding off Living Sisu, and I love the posts on social media, and I want to give you at the end, I want to give you full floor, on talking about Living Sisu, like promotion wise a lot. I want to give you time for that. And Living Sisu and your training is the kind of the last topic I want to get into. And the other one was a brief topic where the hockey league. I'm glad Par brought that up. Such good research. You're a better researcher than I am. My God, I won't take any credit for that in the notes. That was all Par. With Living Sisu, you obviously have the league going on, and like I said, I'm going to save things for the end. But you have obviously a training regime. I know, how does that connect to Living Sisu? Well, it doesn't really, because obviously, but it kind of does. You guys offer a lot of different services, maybe not be the regime that you follow in particular. But I would love to know what you can tell listeners about your specific training regime. And do you utilize your Living Sisu products a lot in your trading regime? Basically, is what I'm.
So how I do it is I think it's a pretty normal thing. I train off ice 5 times a week, and I've been at the same gym, Miologique, in Rosemère for, I don't know, 12 years now, since I've been about 15. So yeah, that's about it. The math is right. It checks out. And I go on the ice twice a week for like the first couple of weeks, when a little early, like in June, depending on when we come back. And then I ramp it up to 3 times a week. And then once I'm starting to get more fluid, I start doing more goalie specific skates, and then you ramp it up to 4 closer to camp. You mix in a lot of rest inside, and that's my training regime, man. Like, there's a lot of juggling. There's a lot of eye work, perception, all this type of training that's available nowadays, that I love to use, but also other sports. I love to play other sports, and cycling, running, all types of stuff. So I like to mix in a lot of things, but hockey wise for me, I tend to ramp it up as it goes, like through July and August, and make it much more goalie specific near the end, to really peak come September, when the camp is ready there.
Par, and I think you'll agree that even Zach was just saying, the way they do training, and maybe you won't be able to answer this part a lot or stem off it to the.
Yeah, we literally just finished saying it was my first time ever playing hockey, and I didn't pack my skates. So I mean,
no, but training part, the way I say it is that it's a lot different than what it used to be, and players have always been different than goalies, right? I don't want to say it's drastically different, but it is in a different degree.
I mean, like 30 years ago, they're smoking darts at intermission. So yeah, things have changed.
Esposito style.
True.
Yeah, and I love the way it is now. The cardio focus, the biking, the cycling, the yoga, and the mental health strength is so like powerful now into the game, and I'm happy that that's realized, because it's been a time coming.
Yeah.
Because we're close to the same age, and I think I only have a handful, not just over a couple of years on you. So I think the way it is when we grew up was very, okay, you got to bench press, you got to squat, okay, you got to do this. Maybe not for goal.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, but for us where I train, we very rarely do those exercises.
Love that.
If even once, those 2 exercises you mentioned, like just a standard squat and a bench press will be done probably 0 times this summer, because of it's a different philosophy of training. But once training camp comes and the tests arrive, I can push that weight as well, just like everybody else. It's just a philosophy of it, where the focus is on different types of drills, and where we're at, it makes for very durable athletes, and where we're at, and he trains all types of athletes from different types of sports, from boxers to mixed martial artists, swimmers, hockey, golf, soccer, all like football players as well. So like, it's all types of sports, and that's important to be versatile, I think. Yeah. And it's funny, it's not funny, but it's good that you mentioned yoga and the mental aspect of the game, because that is part of the regime. It has to be nowadays. It has to be, where I spend almost every day on the mental aspect of the game is super important in preparation for the season, whether it's visualization, whether it's, meditation, yoga, all these types of things. Like I stretch on the daily, your flexibility has got to be on port once the season starts. So all these things, when you first asked me about my regime, I went very broad, but that I think I narrowed it down a little bit for you, where like there's many, many different aspects of it, from your eye training to yoga to meditation to, mental skills, mental, visualization of your game. It's really important to video as well. Just, putting the GoPro, all these things, the video as a goaltender, it's maybe less of a factor for players in the summer, but for a goaltender to be able to do video in the summer, I think it's a huge aspect of you improving, making certain realizations and kind of taking an edge from what you did last year to the next.
Always improving. Now, Par, I'm going to take your thunder with this a little bit as we get to the last point before conclusion. And I always dislike the conclusion because that means you're getting to the end. And such a great chat that we've had with you. We touched on a lot. But this is where I want to give you the floor about Living Sisu a bit more. You have the hat on right now. A really nice looking ball cap.
I was thinking that this whole time. I was like, that's a nice hat.
And I want to say this out loud. I provided everyone the membership for the Living Sisu for our show, but never mind. I won't get into that. I hope people utilize that. But again, I'm going to get back on point. The Living Sisu is obviously what I want to get into here. And we talked about it just slightly a little bit, obviously the league and the apparel you have on. But I want to get into where you can remind listeners, give you the floor about where they can sign up, download the app.
Right. So the last time we spoke, our app was very rudimentary. It was our beta kind of like minimal viable product that we were trying to launch. And we completely redeveloped with a brand new team. We went all the way through to the whole new design. So the app, once you come in, our main goal is to make sports more accessible to more people, to everyone, really. That's our main goal, limitless access. That's what we talk about a lot. So by downloading the app, you'll have, all types of offers in sports. And that's really what we're focusing on: sports, wellness, making sure it's a healthy but also active lifestyle. That's what we're about. That's what I'm about, and that's why we're trying to spread that, our whole team. So it's a little blurry there. So
I'm trying to show it. I'm trying to show it off.
It's right here. I got it.
You got it. Okay.
All types of resources, from videos, photos, PDFs from professionals, and then access all the exclusive offers that are there from about 100 something partners we have now. So there's a lot of offers. And then, our events. So we're building events here and there, as many as we can with our hockey league, our tournaments, retreats, all types of stuff like that, for exactly that, giving access to sports. And that's our thing, man. It's free to join. So download the app. If you're a sports person, it's kind of a no-brainer. You have some cool resources and some offers, and you're connected to sports people. So
and guess where it is? It's on our website, thegamesportshow.com.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going to make sure that at the bottom of this video routinely that a Living Sisu ad.
Amazing. Thank you, brother.
So people should have already clicked. Well, no, they should listen to the show first, then rewind.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like that. Listen to the show first.
Yeah, listen to the show first, then click it. Okay. Because if you don't click it, then hit subscribe on the platform to wherever you're listening. It's all seamless. You're listening to great content. Click on Living Sisu and you follow the Game Sports Show and TGM.
Just sports, man. You'll be fine.
There's always a lot. It's such a good community. And I had numerous guests who say hockey is one of the best sports communities, right? And it's always everyone helping out each other with it, right? And obviously TGM is its own routine, Living Sisu, and it's all routine and it kind of all connects still. And of course you have a great thing going, and I might have to make an order on those hats along with your jersey.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have to switch that jersey in the background after too. But unfortunately, this is the end of the road for part 2. I think we went just a slight bit over schedule, which is actually a win for us because we're always an hour over schedule typically. But I have a feeling that we're going to have a part 3 down the road. I have a feeling that part 3 is going to be when we have our shootout competition.
That's a great idea. We could do a live show. We'll do a live show.
Wow.
At Make Your Move in 2023. I like that. But honestly, guys, look this up. It's really fun. it's in a few different cities in Quebec. It's a really fun tournament, and if you're and a podcast, there you go.
All three,
and you'll find out if you can score on me. There you go.
Oh,
you probably will. You probably will.
And don't get me pumped. You know, my 18-year-old self. I kind of live on this show once in a while. I bring up my junior hockey days as Par rolls his eyes.
Once in a while.
You know, but Brooksy actually is the one that has the actual the sheet. Like you look him up on Hockey DB, they had to minimize the font because of how long he played. That's how you know somebody either made it or was a suitcase, and he just had the opportunity to travel to different leagues. So I think you and him would have a great showdown. The guy is still really good. I played men's league against him, but I dangled him a few times and sniped. So I'm conceited about that on the show. So my prediction is I will get one on Zach, but
you might get a couple for sure.
But it's gonna be sneaky. It's gonna be an absolute shit of a goal. It's not gonna be sick. It's gonna be shit. But I want you to promise me, Zach, when I come, that you actually try though for me at all. Don't be nice.
100%. No, I go. I go. If you score, you score. It's all good.
Good to know. Then
I'm comfortable enough. You know how many goals I've gotten scored on in my life, man. It's all good. If you score, good stuff. It's fine. I'll probably forget about it by the time I go to bed. It's fine.
I'm keeping the puck, and I still want you to know in NHL franchise mode that I play the odd time, you're always the goalie that I pick.
Oh, that's cool, right? Hey guys, I appreciate you having me on the show. Unfortunately, I have to run there. There's need some help around the house. So I'll see you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, Zach, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. Par, appreciate you taking the time.
Of course.
And for the Game Sports Show and TGM, I want to wish all the listeners the best, and thank you for being a part of this recording. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Okay, and obviously, Zach, best of luck and continue forward with fatherhood as well. Par, again, thank you for your time, man. Okay.
Of course, man. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
It's fun time.
You can, by the way, the last thing, the LSHL that you were talking about earlier, you can live stream that on the YouTube channel as well. So you can live stream the games on Monday nights as the women's league with Olympic athletes, next generation players, youth sports, the best women in Quebec, they're on our league. And on Tuesdays, well, it's NHL, AHL guys on Tuesday nights.
There's some big names, Dave. I was looking.
There is. I saw the big names. We're gonna talk about that more, but we are gonna stream that. We might have to connect about having it on our YouTube channel. But nonetheless, thanks again to the listeners, Zach, to Alex. Everyone, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe on all audio platforms, website, The Game Sports Show, as well as the TGM Network YouTube channel. I'd also like to remind you, keep your stick on the ice, swing your bats, catch your touchdowns, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.